In this video, I'm going to share with you how to build a stable and secure camera rig to mount on your car for $100. Hello and welcome to the Dad Wagon channel. Today's video is going to be a slight departure from my typical install videos, but many of you often comment that you really enjoy the quality and the styling of the videos I create here. And because of that, I'm always trying to meet and exceed mine and your expectations. And I am by no means a professional photographer, but I do really enjoy the process of researching and experimenting and trying to find new ways to make these videos even more cinematic and more enjoyable to watch on their own. And one thing that I always see on other car channels out there that makes me a little bit jealous is the styling and the quality of their cars in motion. And while I know many of these are shot with small crews or groups of friends getting together, which I don't have access to. I mean, I do have friends, just none that are into cars as much as I am. So I want to figure out a better way to capture this type of footage, both in-car shots as well as exterior rolling shots, using some of the equipment that I already had. And you might say, yeah, you can use a GoPro or an action camera, and while this is true and they produce great looking footage, it's not nearly as natural or cinematic as what I'm looking to try and get. So naturally, I began looking for affordable car mounting rigs. And as one would imagine, there are quite a few of them out there, and some are pretty affordable and have pretty decent reviews. You get two main types when you're looking: suction cup based rigs and those based on magnetic mounts. But what I notice is that if you're trying to keep your spend under $300, although almost all the rigs have multiple mounting points to the vehicle itself to support it if one of them comes loose, there's only one mounting point to the actual camera itself, which seems like a pretty big weakness to me. And while I'm using fairly moderately priced Sony mirrorless cameras to do my filming, I still don't want to be dropping my $1,000 setup going 50 miles an hour onto the pavement. So instead of buying a prepackaged camera rig online, I decided to build my own. And after a few test drives, I'm pretty happy with the footage I was able to create, and I'm pretty confident that it's not going to fall off my car anytime soon. So I figured I'd share it with all of you. The rig I built has 3 vehicle mounting points and 3 mounting points to the camera's cage. It features 3 magnetic mounting pucks coated in rubber to aid in stabilization and resist marring any surfaces it's mounted to. And its adjustable arms allow you to articulate and angle the camera in a wide variety of ways. And all of this costs right around $100. Here's a little sample of what I've been able to capture so far with this rig. So yeah, I'm surprisingly pretty happy with how that footage turned out for a first attempt. Obviously I did a little bit of color grading, and the fun fact was my wife was actually the camera person for that. We strapped the rig to her Ford Flex and we went for a quick drive. So now that we've seen what it can do, let's talk about how I actually put it together. And just so you know, in the description below, you'll find helpful links to all the different parts and pieces I used to build this, and they are affiliate links, so if you click on them and use them and make a purchase, it ends up helping this channel and helping me create more content like this one. Alright, so let's get started with this build. In front of you right here is everything you're going to need to be able to put this rig together, and it's really just 4 main items. So the first item is a camera cage. If you have a DSLR or a mirrorless camera and you do a lot of shooting, even if you're not building this rig, I totally recommend one of these. It's a simple aluminum piece that wraps around your camera and gives you all sorts of different mounting space for accessories and added cold shoe mounts. The next item is one that I also already had in my arsenal, and I've just added a few more to build this rig, and that is a small rig articulating magic arm, and these ones are 5.5 inches long. It's just a simple arm that allows you to articulate it in almost any position you want, and then by tightening the knob, it uses friction to hold it in place, and these things are very, very solid. The next item is hopefully something you have laying around your house already, and it's just a standard 1-inch diameter washer. These are used in between the small rig arm and the puck itself to help distribute that clamping force when connecting those two items. And the final item, and really the hero of this rig, are these little magnetic pucks that have a 1/4-inch thread in them already. They have really strong magnets that supposedly hold about 55 pounds of vertical force. Alright, now that you know the pieces and parts, I'm going to show you how I assembled it, but if you're handy at all, you probably already figured it out. It's not hard at all. So I'm going to take the small rig arm and just set it out straight so it's easier to work with. Take the washer and put it on one side. I'm using 2 here, and then I'm going to screw on the magnetic puck onto that articulating arm. Now, something I went back through and did for these, especially if you're going to be using this as a permanent setup, is adding some thread locker to each of these connection points from the pucks to the arms to help make sure they stay connected. Now, I'm going to go ahead and repeat this process 2 more times to build 3 total arms. Now, that's totally up to you. You can build 2, and that's probably going to be enough to hold most mirrorless cameras, but I wanted to do 3. You could even do more if you wanted to. Alright, let's put it all together. So grab your caged up camera and go ahead and start connecting your articulating arms and pucks to the cage itself. I'm just placing them randomly here right now. Each time that you set this up on your car or wherever you're going to be using it, you'll likely be moving these, so I am just putting them wherever for now to give you an idea of how to connect it all together. Now let's go through a couple examples of how you could mount this rig to your car to get a variety of different shots. Depending on your use case, the weight of the lens you're using, you might not always need all 3 arms. Here I'm just using a 2-arm setup, and I wanted to be able to grab some footage of the wheel as I was driving. Here's an example of how I've been mounting the camera for some of the in-cabin shots. I've picked up a few sets of these rubberized magnets, so what you can see me doing here to mount it to the window is using those magnets on the outside of the vehicle and connecting them to the articulating arm magnets on the inside. If you're noticing a variation in the arms and how they're connected to the pucks in that shot, it's because I've already had a couple different iterations of this rig and have made some improvements. And finally, the most important setup, mounting on the exterior of a vehicle. This is the setup that I used when filming many of the shots that you saw in that previous clip. And it produced something like this. So this is just my first version of this on-car camera rig, and I'm sure as I use it and learn more, I'll make a bunch of changes, and I'll try and keep you updated on those. And for example, I've already bought another articulating arm that is slightly longer to allow me to achieve just a few different angles with the camera. If you do end up building one, I'd love to see what your changes or suggestions are. If you have built your own on-camera rig before, or you're gonna build one because you saw this video, I'd love to see what you make. Not just the rig itself, but also send me your footage. Post it in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching this video and for all the likes and for sharing your comments below. And as always, if you're new here, don't forget to think about subscribing. I'd love to have you along for the journey, and I'll make some more videos very, very soon.